Alright, our last option in access management is common area access. These would be any of your limited access points, such as a resident common area that you chose that checkbox for limited access, or any of your KeyScan access groups that we're pulling over from the KeyScan system. So I'm going to click on plus here. I'm going to give this a name of resident. Profile type is resident. And I'm going to save it. Now we see over here we have our 5 access groups from KeyScan. That's the guest entry, maintenance room, parking, resident common doors, and staff common doors. And we see our limited access group that's actually a Sapphire lock for our pet spa. I can check here any of the locks that I want the resident to be able to access. I can also choose if default access is set to yes. Now I don't want them getting in the maintenance room. I want them getting the guest entry, the parking. I want them to be able to get in the pet spa, but I don't want it on by default. I want them to pay that extra fee at my property to get in the pet spa. And I want them to get in the resident common doors, but not the staff common doors. So I'm just going to choose these 4 and make 3 of them default to yes. Now I need to click on access points and choose which access points actually get that access. And I'm just going to click the all button here because that's going to be all of my resident locks. And I'm going to save it. Now if I look at my profile, I've got the options I want, access points, I've got all my locks selected here. So any of my residents are automatically going to have access to the guest entry, the parking, and the resident commons, and I can give them access to the pet spa. This is just for your Aurora access groups and any standalone locks that are defined as limited access. They will automatically have access to any of your standard resident common doors you created in Property Builder. I'm going to go ahead and make this for the management also. So I'm going to choose staff and vendor. I'm going to choose my staff credential. I'm going to actually name this master key because that's what my staff credential is. So my master key, I'm going to give access to everything, and I'm going to default it to yes on all those. And I'm going to go to my credentials, and that's going to be for my master key. And I'm going to save it. I'm going to go ahead and make another for my regular staff, the variable access one. And I'm going to call this one staff. I'm going to do the same thing. Give them access. I don't want them to have access to the maintenance room, but the rest of the things I do want them to have access to. I can give them access to the maintenance room, just set the default access as no, so I can choose that while making the credential. And that's going to be for my staff credentials. I'm going to go ahead and do one more for my vendors. And you can make this for any of your credential types that you have, if I could spell right. My vendors, I'm going to give access to guest entry. They're not going to need to get my parking. They're just going to come right up to the office. They don't need in the pet spa. Let them get in the resident common doors and I guess maybe the staff common doors. I'll leave that as selectable. I'm going to choose default yes for resident and guest. And that's going to be for my vendor credential. So that is how we make the connection to the KeyScan system. If your KeyScan system was set up right before the Aurora software that we set up in the beginning, if you followed all my steps to set it up, you would see those access groups in here. This is where you select them. So now when I add a resident to a unit, it's automatically going to give them these access things based on their unit here in the list. So that is how we make the connection in version 2.1 and beyond. Any version previous to 2.1, things were a little bit different, but this is now how we make the connection to the Aurora access groups. Thank you very much.